Alright, good night, Zach. See you later. Yeah, the long at 52k was so good. I'm really happy with that one. But I made a few mistakes like on the way up here. We could have played that better. But I'm like, because I said I took a little break from left trading. I'm literally just like revising all of this and seeing like what fundamentally went wrong because we could have made so much profit over here. Like, we could have had so many good plays. Yeah, Wyckoff was a legend for sure. Okay, first thing I want to do is I want to showcase this. I'm gonna go on the daily chart and let's see. Um, I think I can just hide all of this. That should be pretty easy. Okay. Okay, guys, see the chart. Oh, I think it's bugged. Screen share is not on. Let's see, is it better now? All right. Okay, so I want to start on a daily chart. For like 24 hours on daily, it's like literally the same thing. This is just for harmonics. So I want to start on a daily chart, and I'm gonna start on a line chart, okay? Because line charts they remove a lot of noise. So what line charts do is they remove the wicks, and you can only see the closes. It's literally just a line between the closes. And why I want to showcase this is, well, I'll start on the weekly actually. Let's start on the weekly, okay? If I go on the weekly, what we can see is that we have made lower high after lower high. And then we had a lower high here. This is officially not broken yet, right? Because this weekly candle still needs to close. And then if you look at the lows, we took out the lows. And we took out the lows. On a weekly time frame, until this candle closes, this range is in a downtrend. I wouldn't necessarily call this a downtrend for the reason that these are not really highs and lows on a weekly time frame. This is more of a consolidation structure. But this range is still in a downtrend on the weekly until we close higher. But if we go on the daily, what we can see is that I'll just remove all of these again. Is that these highs, we kind of have the same highs over here, right? You can just make these. These are essentially just equal highs. Have a high over here, and then we have a high over here. We have broken this high. If I go back to normal candles, you can see that we have completely closed above. We even closed above the wick. So what does that mean? That means that after literally 30 weeks of being in a downtrend, because here you can see it, this is the first candle where we touched a very, very big bearish harmonic as this candle. We are now on the 30th bar. Like after 30 weeks, we are finally in an uptrend again. So because we closed this daily candle so high, that is the reason why I will now confidently say that if we drop, we should just be looking for longs because we have broken structure completely now. Like this is if you want to mark it that way, you can mark it a change of character, right? I usually don't mark these, just look at it. But this is a break of structure and a change of character. That's right here. So after we have now made a higher high, which we have, this is the first time where we can genuinely expect a higher low. So if we start dropping, I'm obviously going to look for harmonics, but whatever system you have, you're going to look for something. And we are just going to, what we're going to do is we're just going to look for areas like these, and we're just going to look for a good place to long. Because the only thing we need to worry about now is either to catch the move down. Let's say if we take this, we go down. That is like a secondary concern. We can try to do that, but that is not the highest risk to reward anymore. The highest risk to reward now is if we go down too long somewhere in this area and to finally catch like a good long opportunity. Because technically all longs up until now have just been against the trend, right? Because we were in a downtrend for so long. You have your highs, your lows, and it was literally just downtrending for so long. That is finally over now. So we're gonna look for longs, essentially, when we get down here. I am also gonna look for one short. I'm gonna look for a short up there. Just turn these off. I'm gonna look for a short up here somewhere. So my most likely area is gonna be right there. This is not an actual short, right? If we get to this area, I will call a short. Because this is just such a good level. But the primary concern now should be to look for longs lower. This is not an area very long because we are at resistance. You can see it, this little box I've drawn here. This is resistance. So we are at resistance. This is not a place for longs. But if we pull back, that is when we long really hard. Because we can now actually get good and safe entries. Okay, now that we've had that, let's get to making a watch list. I have a few very obvious picks I want to look at. And after that, it is kind of up to debate. So what I want to do is we have a few sectors, right? I want to get a few in each sector for the reason that we know that if we're going to have a pullback, by having like everything separated in different sectors, you can kind of see which sector is going to outperform first. So if you have a bunch of AI coins, you have a bunch of layer 1 coins, you have a bunch of meme coins, and you just have these three categories together. If you just have good performing coins in there, you're going to see which sector is performing, and that will tell you which sector to focus on first. I'm going to start with layer 1 coins because I want to get those out of the way. The layer 1 coins I will mostly be focusing on is obviously Sui, because Sui is performing really, really well. Same thing for Same thing for FTM. And you could argue for Sol. I am personally not going to look at Sol because I do not think the structure is that good. And as we've seen in recent days, Sol's performing just fine. But these coins are the best performers by far. As you can see just how well Sui has been performing the past few weeks. Like, we're almost back at all-time high. You can see just this week. Yeah, this is mental, right? If you take it from the first green candle, which just rallied 140% out of nowhere. So for layer 1, these are the coins I'm going to be mostly looking at. We're already in Saiyan spot, but I want to get some more leverage positions going as well. We are not an FTM. I was looking for this entry. We never got to retest, sadly. And for Sui, I mean, it is kind of a disadvantage when you move this rapidly. And this applies to any asset, essentially. When you move this rapidly, where you kind of just, you have your highs and your lows, right? Just like that. You shift structure, you have one higher low. And out of that structure break, we haven't had a single pullback. So the problem with that is that you are not really building any support over here. So, for example, if you look at this part, we're kind of going up, going down, up, down. We're kind of just zigzagging, right? That is pretty good. So that way, if you go down, you can see that if I literally just place horizontal lines over here, right? I'm going to place them on the highs and the lows. It's like that. You can see that the moment we enter this area, we're kind of zigzagging as well. Like, we're kind of just reacting and bouncing between the areas, right? But the problem is, if you are just going up in a straight line, essentially, just like this, that you haven't really done that. So if you get a pullback, I think Sui's pullback is going to be pretty violent because we don't have any support over here. So I will likely, I'm just going to pull like a fib from the first higher low to our current high. This could change, right? This can change if we make a new high. But I would be looking, like at first reaction, I would be looking somewhere over here in the 114 area for a position. And possibly, let's see, we did have that one. Yeah, we haven't really formed any harmonics yet. So this is going to be my first area to look at. I'm essentially just going to look for this area because this is the first area where we've actually built some support, right? And it also coincides with a golden pocket right over there. So I think this is going to be my first area of interest for Sui. This is not like an actual position yet. I can't say that until we like get there. But just to show that if coins move up this violently, they will probably also move down really violently. Just because you don't really build any support on the way. Next up, I'll just put these in a section actually for layer 1 coins. Next up, I have a few AI coins I have for a list, but I know there are a lot of coins in the AI sector that I don't know about yet. So if you have any good AI suggestions, then just put them in chat and we can look at those together. Okay, first of all, add my suggestions. Fed is a fantastic coin to trade for the reason that they have now merged, right? So volume is really, really high on Fed because it's now essentially 3 coins in one. Prime Berry, I've never heard of those. I'll look at them. I'll look at them in a bit. We can look at those. I'm looking at Render for the reason that this is one of the only AI coins that actually has like a proper use case. So this is a nice coin to trade. And I'm obviously looking at Tau because Tau is one of the best, if not the best, performing AI coin at the moment. So if it pulls back, well, if it pulls back, we should look at that. Let's see, Primeberry PHP. Okay, that is probably not actually the news chart, so I can add these as well. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, and I want to add one more. I want to add Powell as well. Because Powell looks really good. I already have a solid plan for this. If we pull back, I'm going to long there. I'll show you why in a moment. Okay, Prime was the first one, right? Thoughts on Say. I'm going to bid any pullback. We have taken profits twice because we are in a spot position. I'm going to re-add those profits on the first higher low. So where it's going to be, I am not entirely sure, but an estimation would be, I'm just going to do the same thing again, right? I'm going to take this higher low, just make a fib pool, and you will see that the 0.618 over here aligns with kind of this structuring over here. So if I draw a little box there, you can see that this aligns with the 0.618 over there. And then we also have this little area right over here where we consolidated for a little bit, and that coincides with mid-range, or like the middle of the point. So I would look at either 0.38 or 0.355 again to add those profits back. But in general, Say is really high on my list. I think Say is going to perform really well. Okay. Let's start with these. Prime. This coin is AI, right? Or does it do something else? Let's see. We immediately do have a really nice M structure here. As you can see, like, this is the first thing I essentially look at on charts, right? Because I trade harmonics, so I trade M and W structures. So we can instantly see that we kind of have a nice M structure. So that's the first thing I'm going to look at. I'll start on a higher time frame. Let's see, that is going to be a 0.545. That doesn't align with anything, so we're going to need to use a different point. What if you put it up here? Can't really get this on a significant low. No, I can't really get anything out of that. These are essentially equal highs, so we can't really use that either. No, we do have a nice reaction from this level, but I don't see anything immediately. Yeah, I don't really see anything of this. I think we just reacted off of a few fans, so I'll just draw those instead. Let's see. I've been toying with GAN a lot. So as you can see, my favorites bar is getting pretty big. Yeah, so this is really nice actually. You can see how well we're respecting the fan here. I'll actually change the color so it's easier to see. It's like that. You can see how well we respect it here because we tap this 886 diagonal a few times right over there and we close above every single time. So something you can do with essentially every way of trading is what you want to look for is you want wicks on important levels and then you want candle closes above. Because what wicks tell you is wicks tell you what people have tried to do. So essentially, in this case, this is a seller wick, right? Sellers have tried to push it back into this area below this 886 and have failed to do so because we went in and then we closed above. So we didn't accept it. And that is very important because that tells us that this level does not accept currently. So if we get here again, we can assume that we still don't accept until we close a candle within there. So currently, we have a candle close within the next area. So within that 786 to 707 area. So if we get a retest on this, that's where I would look for a potential entry. I'm not... Wait, is that actually the... Yeah, that is the lowest point, okay. And I'll just take a fib pull as well. Yeah, so we did close below this one, so we still need to claim this. So as long as we don't close candles above this level, I do think it's possible to get a retest on this first. And for all of you ICT traders out there, you also do have a unicorn setup right over there. So you can try along off of that. Take another fib pull. Yeah, that is a 0.5 of this as well. I'm gonna use this unicorn as an entry model and just use these two 707s as a stop. So this is essentially what I'd look for. And because this wick is so violent, we can assume that we get a reaction if we get there, so that's going to be my final target.
Yo, what's good, Grassy?
Yo, it's good.
How's it going? We trading Prime now? We're trading Logan Paul's token? What's this?
I have no clue. I am, what's it called? We're making a watch list together for coins to bid on a pullback, and I wanted some new AI coins. So this was one
Okay.
of the suggestions.
Oh, very nice. Yo, what's good, Crix? What's up, Ahmed? How you doing? So what do we have on the watch list so far, Grassy? We got Prime, what else?
I filled in some layer 1 picks, so I filled in Suisei and FTM. Then we filled in Fed, Render, and Tau, and now we're looking at the others.
Oh, lovely.
So,
Good collection.
yeah, for sure. We still have a lot to add. I'm gonna probably add Pal, for example, because I think Pal looks really good. And then we have a few suggestions which we're gonna look at. Ooh.
Yeah, I'll share my FET levels in the chat.
Yeah, a lot of people forget about Pal, yeah. It's mostly because no exchanges have it listed. Like MaxC listed it recently, but apart from that, no exchange really has it. Apart from exchanges that have everything, right? Like CoinEx and Gate.io have everything.
The chart is quite nice on Pal though, just on a technical basis.
Yeah, I really like the power chart. This is like actually a really nice chart, and it is one of the more profitable AI projects. Like if you would look at it from a company revenue standpoint, PAL is like way up there. Okay, let's see what levels you have on FET, because I have it fully charted since what's it called? We bought it for long term.
I'm loving the chart for the crypto total market cap at the moment. excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, just for altcoins.
Yeah, so total 3, right?
Yeah, total free. We had that accumulation and reversal at the liquidity pocket, and now we're just breaking out of resistance.
Yeah, we talked about this at the start of the stream as well. I
Mhm.
use BTC as an example, but we have been essentially in a downtrend for 30 weeks, which is completely mental to think about, right? And we've now finally like actually properly broken structure. Like even if you look at the total free chart, we have now had 3 daily closes above the last candle close, and we've also had a daily close above the last wick. So we've now fully broken structure finally. So we can actually like confidently just go on a 4 hour chart, and the moment we see a good structure shift after like a pullback, we can just bid. Because we now have a daily and an uptrend, finally.
Mm. Crix asked for a review on anyone. This coin, I think, is still in price discovery. It only launched this summer. So I personally would steer clear from trading a coin like this on leverage, just because it doesn't have much historical data. But yeah, it looks like we'll see maybe a potential reversal at the 1.5 range around there potentially. But again, I'm not sure what this coin does fundamentally, so could just break through that.
Yeah, what coin is this? Like, is it like a meme coin, or does it fit anything, or?
It's the coin for anyone and everyone, my friend. The community project.
It's a
It used
rebranded coin.
AIZ, okay, AIZ coin market cap. Let's see. This is what I always do when I don't know what a coin is. I go into coin market cap and I just look at it fundamentally, like what is it? So yeah, it's an AI project.
Oh wow.
News.
I think you asked about this one before, right? I think I've charted as a. I think I've charted this before, but I'm not sure.
I just linked an interesting article. It's got some good AI projects on there. Okay, so
Scale, is it scale or scale?
the token's designed for decentralized Web3 AI storage and streaming. Interesting. Aimed at advancing medical imaging. Fucking hell. Oh no way! The project's collaborating with universities in the UK, Liverpool and Imperial College London. Wow. See, this is a cool project. This isn't just a bullshit AI coin, right? This is backed by a real company. That's dope.
Okay, well, let's see if the chart agrees with that. I'm gonna, just because of how violent this liquidity grab was, I'm just gonna assume that that is a significant low. Oh yeah, that looks good actually. Okay. I'm not gonna like calculate the entire PUZ, so I'm just gonna use these two levels. This and then the 141.
It's got a $600 million market cap.
Only 600 mil. Wait, that's quite a bit actually, looking at this
That's quite
chart.
a bit, yeah, for a random AI coin. Let's see
Okay,
here.
so essentially, if I draw the Guardian out manually, I've marked out all of the significant levels. I've drawn out the X2A786, I've drawn out the ABCD extensions, and the actual ABCD. So essentially what we get by doing that is we now have this box that kind of acts as support. So because we consolidated below this point, and we have gotten a retest of this consolidation area over here, because we wicked down here and retested that, but we haven't really gotten a retest of this. I think what we can do is we can kind of expect a retest in this area if we get a correction. So
Well,
this would essentially be the area I
it
would bid.
would be a pretty big correction. I'm curious, like, what are your expectations for BTC and altcoins here, right? Because obviously, inevitably, right, if we do have a pullback on Bitcoin, say we visit the 60K to 62K region for a retest, that would be good to go higher, right, if we hold that level. But is that what you're waiting for? Because I personally believe, look, at this position here in the market, if we continue to break out well into October, then obviously you're not going to have that pullback you're waiting for. So I would recommend for people in the audience, to ensure that one, you're of course managing your risk and you have a plan for every trade you take, but also like you wouldn't be necessarily wrong to wait here like for a reversal. But I'd also say like if you're trading an altcoin and you had say a 10% stop loss and 10x leverage, you'd be pretty safe, right? If you look at the majority of pairs here, there's an unlikely chance you're going to get stop loss unless we did have quite a decent pullback on BTC. So yeah, just make sure you're managing risk, guys. But for me here personally, I'd love a pullback, right? I'd love us to reach key levels, but I'm also not scared to take new positions at these levels considering Bitcoin's price action.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one thing I want to add is it is very important to, regardless of bias, if you are at key levels of support, to have some spot exposure to the things you want. So, for example, I really like to say, right? I've talked about that a lot. And even down here, I wasn't sure if we were actually going to go up. But spot is rather safe in a way that if you are at very key levels, so in this case, this has been a very key level previously, and from a harmonic perspective, there are a lot of POCs here. You just buy a little. If you go lower, you just buy a little more. To essentially just to have exposure if you do go up. And the way spot works is you don't have to sell unless it gets invalidated. So you can just hold it through tough times and then close it on invalidation. So if you actually get a bearish retest of that level, then you can close. But before that, it's really not needed because you don't necessarily need to use a stop loss just like you do with LAV. So, for example, at this point for BTC, this is not a level I will look to add leverage. This is a level where I'm solely taking profits, right? But that doesn't mean I'm selling everything just because I think we're going to get a correction. Because if we go lower, well, as I stated before, we have now broken daily structure, right? So if we go lower, I still expect us to go higher afterwards. So for leverage, what I'm doing is I am not bidding leverage here. I'm scalp trading every now and then, but I am not like opening new swings because I think we can actually get a 10% correction. What I'm looking at is I am essentially looking at a retest of this mid-range right over here. I think we can get that. I don't think it's realistic to just bank on a 10% correction. But there will always be a correction. You're not just going to go up in a straight line. There will always be a pullback. And
100. I can't wait for the days soon where we have a 5% pullback and everyone switches their bias on the timeline. Everyone's suddenly bearish.
yeah, no, that's why it's like you don't actually know if you're gonna get like how far the pullback's gonna be, right? But there's always gonna be a pullback, and just seeing everyone's sentiment switch the moment you see like a few red candles, like that is wild to think that everyone the moment you see a few red candles is just gonna be bearish again.
Yeah,
While in reality, what you can see if you look at the charts is if we pull back, we are in an uptrend again. Like we have fully broken daily structure, so the pullback is just forbidding.
exactly. Yeah, I definitely bias longs, of course, over shorts right now. I don't think anyone should be looking for shorts necessarily at this level here. But also it depends, what positions you're in, right? For me personally, I'm very content and I'm very comfortable with the trades I've taken. So now I'm looking to like take some profits. I'm not necessarily looking to open new positions at the moment. I'm happy being patient, waiting for pullbacks.
Yeah, no, that's why. And I bought like a lot of spot positions when we were lower, so I'm completely fine waiting as well.
Yeah.
And I think longs are biased over shorts for sure. The only reason I would open like a lot of shorts here is if you, let's say you have like a lot of longs open from lower and you don't want to repeat them anymore, you can just wait for BTC if it like hits an important resistance, you just open a hedge short there. So for hedging, I think it's fine. But like from now on, because the daily is now in a bullish structure, it doesn't make sense to be hedge short anymore. To be net short anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone's close to even net neutral, right, in terms of delta volume, but everyone's across the timeline is net long at the moment.
Yep.
Everyone. And it's good to see, even if you check like the YouTube channels, right, for crypto traders, the views are going up. I think I saw a post earlier, Coinbase is trending in the App Store again. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun quarter four, my friend.
Yeah.
But you know what we should do, Grasty? Let's put together a list, right? So you had those pairs you were already looking at, and I'll chuck some down if anyone in the audience wants to put their top pairs in the chat as well, and then we can pile a nice list of good pairs.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's yeah, I think that's a good idea actually. How about everyone just puts like 2 or 3 coins down that they really like to trade, and then we're just gonna look at those and then just add them to a list. Yeah, we're not doing that. Ada is wrong. If you suggest Cardano, your message will get deleted.
Not the American Disability Act, ADA.
No, we're not doing that. And I can pull up the chart if you want, but you're not gonna be happy because my ADA chart looks like this. Wait, because my ADA chart is one with the circles on it. This is the one with the launch pad. But the launch pad is actually working.
Oh wow, Not's going crazy, eh?
Yeah, it is.
I wish not AI was trading like this.
Let's see. I've been scalping for most of the day, so I kind of need to turn everything off. Bro, Nod is actually going crazy. Yo, I should have waited like an hour with my TP. Like it TP'd after we broke out and hit like some resistance. Like it TP'd over here, which is a decent level. But if I waited an hour, we would have been up like double.
Summer, to answer your question, so yeah, it's interesting. I've been having a debate with a few people regarding this, right? And obviously, if World War III were ever to really kick off, where's it going to kick off over, right? It's going to be in the Middle East. For that to really happen, for there to be such a big market scare, I mean, a lot of the Middle East conflicts are obviously already priced in. For it to escalate to the next level, then Iran would need to have to get involved, right? If Iran's getting involved, there's going to have to be a very big catalyst for them to do it because Iran are playing the long game, right? I've spoken with a couple of historians regarding this earlier. So, yeah, I think it's getting worse and worse, right? But I wouldn't really be that fearful until Iran really gets involved. That's the level when you're like, okay, now, people are going to be increasing war bonds. Maybe we'll see some stall, we'll see a dump in the market. Also, the elections, right? Like these are the main catalysts I'm looking at, which would deter from a bull run, right? If Middle Eastern tension were to increase with Iran, and then also if things were to go wrong with not only the election, but also if the quarter four earning reports in January weren't as bullish as people would expect, then we would have potential major pullbacks from these events, right? Whether or not Trump is elected, Kamala is elected, we're going to see a lot of volume in the market regardless. It's not going to affect anything. We had Sleepy Joe in the office and we still ran up to 72K, right? But I definitely think Trump would be a massive bullish catalyst if he got elected. Not saying he would be perfect for the American economy. Both options are shit, but I think he is the better option in terms of how the market would react.
Yeah, I think what I looked at. I think I'm not gonna get into the politics themselves because I don't care that much about American politics. But I think both parties are bad, but Trump is less bad for the market. But in the end, I don't think it matters all too much. Like what you exactly how you said it, right? We had Biden in office, and it was the first cycle where we actually hit all-time high before halving. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it matters all too much apart from the initial reaction.
Did you see this hippo flip the market cap of WIF?
Yeah, it's
Is that right?
the hippo with a blush, right? It hasn't flipped a market cap with. I don't believe that.
I saw some posts about it.
That's called Modang, right? I think that's what he's called.
This was like a Chinese cabal play, right? So China got in on Modem very early. Give me 1 second. I'm getting a phone call. I'll be back in a sec.
Sure. Okay, so what I'm looking at for Sol, by the way, because I saw it suggested, and I have a chart of Sol in a bit. I am essentially looking at this. I am not all too bullish on Sol because I think the pairing charts don't look good. I've gone over this a lot, but I think Sol Eve is topped out, and I think Sol BTC is topped out as well. But Sol is still Sol, right? It is still gonna perform really well. So I'm essentially just looking at this. Something along these lines. And then just short it back to support. This, like how far you would be able to take this, this is not actually dependent on Sol, this is dependent on what BTC is going to do. Because my bias for Sol right now is that it's going to underperform, but if Bitcoin is going to go on a real, like an actual rally, then Sol's still going to perform well, it's just going to underperform compared to the rest. Yeah, Sol's still going to do well, right? It is still going to be a major winner, but it's just going to win less than the others. Because if you look at any pairing chart with Sol, we'll look at Sol Eve as an example. Sol Eve. What you can see is that the pairing charts, there's going to be like this for every major pairing chart, right? It just looks top. If you look at it from like a perspective like this, you have hit like actually the macro level. This is like essentially the all-time high for the market cap wise, right? Yeah, it's an ascending triangle as well. I don't actually trade that, but it's one of those as well. The RSI is completely messed up. Like you can't really get bigger divergences than this, right? It's not really possible. You've hit like the macro shark, and you've reacted really well. So this is completely in play. So essentially, what I'm looking at is I am looking on a high time frame. This is a weekly chart, right? This isn't gonna happen tomorrow. On a high time frame, I am looking for Sol to touch this 0.5 level. Because every shark, and this is a shark, we can see that by the 113 and this being slanted top. Every shark transforms into a 5-0, so this is also going to be along right around here. So once we touch this level, that's when I'm going to be really bullish on Sol again, right? Because that is my like macro level. That is why I think we're going to put in a higher low. But for now, this is a very confluent area for me to say that I think it is not going to perform. Could we see a pullback on Sol to 152? Take a look. I just drew it up. Okay, so if this harmonic were to hit, this a bearish card, if this were to hit, I'm gonna take a fib from point A to our D. This is a hypothetical fib, right? We haven't actually formed the top yet, so it could be that these are gonna be a bit higher. Then these would be the technical targets. So 150.78 would be TP1 of this harmonic. So yeah, I think 152 is possible. Also, off of this harmonic, another play you can make is this. So because we have our B point over here, this is our B point on the harmonic, right? We can take that B point and say, okay, if we actually flip that level, so I just take a little box and take it from B, I'm just going to take it from the wicks over here. If we actually flip this level right over here, that's when we can like take a little long up to the D point right over there. This would be a trigger play. This is not a play you take blindly. You would wait for price to get above this and go back and retest. And then this would be a possible play. So that is it for Sol, essentially. need another Black Swan for it to go to 120, or do you think it happens around election time? I can't give you a time estimation yet. I am starting to learn how GAN works, and he does a lot of stuff with time. So eventually I will, and I can draw something up really quick, but I cannot give you an exact time estimation yet. So once I oh yeah, Caleb.
I was laughing. You said Black Sean instead of Black Swan.
Black Sean, no, not Sean. I can once I am confident in how like knowing how GAN works, I can give a little stream on it. But I swear that fella, he was like he did some weird stuff. Like that is by far the hardest trading style I've seen. Because I've learned Fibs, I've learned obviously SR chart patterns, I've learned most of ICT, I've learned some smart money concepts, but GAN is by far the hardest system I've traded.
Oh, wait, AVAX is sending, eh?
Again? Oh, I was typing in chat.
Just broke out the daily 200 EMA.
I think if I were to draw the piece from this, we're headed to TP1 on this. Yeah, I think we're headed to 35. Everything in between just kind of looks like noise. So yeah, this didn't really form anything either. Maybe taken from this point? Not really, yeah, I think we're just headed for 35. Tia, oh, I'm glad you asked. I'll add that to the list. I actually probably missed some. Riff, yeah, Pepe, Bread, Rune, yeah. Running Injective as well. I know a lot of people hate this coin, but I promise it's a good coin. This coin is really easy to trade now. Okay, I'll go over Tia first because I like this chart a lot. So I really enjoy talking about Tia. I'll just hide all of this. This got front ran. I mean, it could still hit. I'll hide it as well. As for Tia, I am looking at this. Where is the ABCD? Right over there. I am looking at this. Okay, so Tia on a very high time frame has hit this bat. This right here is a bat harmonic. What we've done is we tapped that, we retested it a few times, right? So if I draw a line right over here, this is our bat. I'll make it white, make it easier to see. This is our 886, essentially. We have tapped that a few times. We finally broke out of that. We finally broke out of the PRZ, and we have now completely shifted daily structure. Oh yeah, for sure, Caleb. It was nice seeing you. So what we've done is we've shifted daily structure, right? This was our last daily high. If you want to be picky, you can even choose this, right? It's your last daily high. We broke that. So now that we've broken that, we have confirmed that we have shifted structure, right? We are now in an uptrend. So what I'm going to look for is I'm going to look for any significant pullback, and I'm just going to bid that. I think I'm going to disable most of it just because I know it is a bit too much noise for most people. Let's see, which one is it? This one, okay. So this one, the most outer band you can see. So this one right here That is a 3.618 extension. That is the most outer one. This number is what I usually use as a macro floor. So I wanted to go over this last stream a bit, but what I've done here with the circle is I have taken the circle from the low to the low, right? From the first initial low to the low that sent us up and broke structure. And I am taking the 3.618 of that because 3 is an important number, and 618 is obviously representative of 5. So I'm taking that number, and this is essentially going to be my retest level, right over here. So I'm going to keep that level on my chart. And then I'm going to go on a lower time frame, and I'm going to look at an entry model, right? So we have a very high time frame level in the form of this circle, like the measurement of our floor. So I'm going to take my harmonic tool, and I'm just going to draw this. And what we can see is that we have a bad harmonic right over here. I'm going to measure the top and the bottom. So for the top, I'm going to take this 1618 extension. Right over there. And then I'm going to take the 886 as our most important level. Right over there. And lastly, I'm going to measure our ABCD by doing this. So our ABCD 1618 is right over there. It's a bit hard to see, but that is how I measure them. So this is essentially going to be a reversal zone. So that is also how we got to the first one you saw that we removed. This is what I'm looking at for TIA. I'm going to put my stop loss right over here. This is going to be right below that next level on the circle. So I would look for something along these lines. Realistically, we can play it higher, right? Because we are now in an uptrend, we can actually target the next high, which is the logical target. So that's what I'm going to target. Or just mark this one as well to show what I'm targeting. Just like that. So that is what I'm looking for. I know my TA chart is full of like random stuff that you don't usually see on charts. But I think it looks really good. Super, what does that do? I can look at super, yeah, I can add that to the list. Okay, let's go back to this chart. Super. Added it to the list. Let's see. Oh. That is probably a makeshift long because there's... Oh, this is the chart, the one I've charted before. I gave this long to someone. Well, I hope they took it. This top loss is complete. I don't know what this is. Probably an example of what it shouldn't be. But it hit TP, okay? I mean, to be fair, now that it has actually... I think I gave this a break here. Are you still here? I charted this for you, right? I think you remember that. Okay, anyway. I think this looks pretty good. We've almost went all the way up to the 618 already. No, actually, this one. Yeah, it looks almost identical. It is just dead for really long and then all of a sudden breaks out. This is like a Jasmine kind of chart. Like this. Like that. I think it's a good actually. Because we are so close to that 618, I think we actually just tapped that. Like we kind of had some equal eyes up here. Not really, but gave me equal. Okay, I'm gonna say this now that we're making a watch list, right? I'm gonna actually, I think it was, yeah, it was Prime as well. I'm gonna say this for just because we're making a watch list. I heavily dislike trading gaming coins for one simple reason. All of them have really bad tokenomics. So you are essentially trading two charts. You are trading one, the USDT chart, two, the market cap chart. If I were to take a very big gaming project, right? I'm gonna take Gala. Can I actually see the market cap on this? I don't think it's this one. No, every gaming token has it. I'm not gonna trade Gala for sure. Can I see the big time chart then? No, okay. I'll just have to explain it because these tokens don't even have a market cap chart. Oh, there's long. Okay. It's as long as someone a while ago. So the thing with gaming tokens is, right? Big Time is a good example. They can run really hard. Like, that's possible, for sure. The problem is, because they, as a core, have really bad tokenomics because they give tokens to people that play their games, right? And it's like a part of the reward. The tokenomics are really bad because they're just going to be new and new tokens on the market every time. Like, there are going to be so many tokens on the market every time that people are just going to dump the tokens they get. And the market cap is going to increase even if the price stays stable. Because there are just so many tokens coming out. And so many people getting tokens as a reward. And on top of that, most of these gaming projects have a ton of VCs in them, which also just gradually get unlocked, etc. So, do I think you can trade gaming tokens? Yeah, for sure. Because as you can see, they run really hard, right? And when they do well, they do really well. But I don't think there's a single gaming token you can actually long-term hold. Yeah, those burning mechanisms are like, yeah, they're there, but they never like actually compensate for the amount of tokens being produced. For example, I'm gonna take Gala because I know the numbers out of my head. I don't have the market cap chart in front of me. But if you were to look at this, right, we're gonna take Gala and we're gonna go on a weekly time frame. If we take this from CMP to all-time high, that is 3,260%. That is a 33x. On the market cap chart of Gala, this is a 4x. Because there are so many tokens being put out that I'm doing the math. That is like a okay, so from the start of this, that is about 8 times as much tokens as it started. Like from all-time high to now, there are about 8 times as many tokens. Gala also has burning mechanisms in their games. Because that is like a standard thing people do in gaming projects. They add a burning mechanism because it looks good. But it never actually makes up for the amount of stuff that they're giving out. So I think it is fine to trade them. That is completely fine because they run really, really hard. But long term, there is not a single gaming project that's gonna last. Because the tokenomics on all of them are just too bad. It is not a profitable business model to actually burn so many tokens to make up for that. And yeah, Prime, like the Prime chart actually looked kind of good. I think we charted it over here. The Prime chart looked kind of good. Oh, we already retested that actually. But same story here. It is like, yeah, you can trade it, but I would never hold this long term. Because eventually this is just gonna die because the tokenomics suck. That is why me personally, I just don't even look at gaming tokens. Even though they run really hard, I prefer to look at others. Yeah, the coin releases have schedules for sure. But it is usually more than just the individual unlocks that matter. It is just the sheer amount of coins being unlocked over time that just makes it really hard for price to sustain. I'll give this as an example, okay? Just put it on this. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to 2 charts. I'm gonna go to LDO USDT. It's gonna hide all of this. And then I'm gonna go to LDO. LDO is not a gaming project, but LDO has the same issues. And now we're going to look at a monthly chart. I'll actually just reset them both. Zoom in a little. Okay, so these are about equal, right? I'm going to show you what I mean with gaming tokens, because gaming tokens all have this, but more extreme. If we take this initial impulse, right? This is like the first really big impulse in LDO. And we put a line right over there. So the bottom is the market cap, and the top one is the price. You can already see it over here, right? I've taken them on the candle close on both, right? I've both taken them on the candle closes. If we go from this moment to CMP, LDO's price has gone up 40% since that initial impulse. LDO's market cap has gone up 307%. This is one of the reasons why LDO is going to be a slow mover regardless, because the market cap has already gone up 300%, so it has 4x since January 2023. Price has only gone up 40%. So in reality, more people are holding LDO now than they were before. Like way more. Like 4 times as many people. Like 4 times as much LDO. But price has only gone up 40%. So where is that going? Well, it's just new tokens being distributed and just being added to the market cap. And that is also why I always tell people Sol is not going to perform as much as you want it to. Because Solana is already at an all-time high, essentially. Let's go on a different. Let's going to use the chart. Solana is essentially already at all-time high. Because look at this. I'm going to draw a horizontal and all-time high over here. $260, right? Then I'm going to do the same for the market cap. We've already tapped all-time high. We've even closed above it. So, if you... Okay, I'll phrase it differently because people are really bullish on Sol for really good reasons as well, right? But I don't think the token itself is the one you should be bullish on. Because the token itself... Well, look at this. We've already tapped all-time high. We've already been there. We've even closed above. I don't think this is going to run really hard. But the token and the project itself have a lot of reason to do really well. Because it is still one of the only chains people actually use. So, how should you take that? You should look at other parts of the ecosystem. So, for example, look at GTO. GTO is a really good token. I'll just pull this back real quick. GTO is a really good token. I'll just clear all of this. If you zoom out, right? Wedge high. First high, first low, first high, higher low. Jupe also has tokenomic issues, but yeah, I agree. Jupe's also going to do well. I think GTO is going to do better though. This is essentially a macro bullish structure, right? I don't know why that hides itself. Because you are making higher highs and you're making higher lows. Draw a GTO trend line. I don't draw trend lines. I'll draw a fan for you. Oh, they mean this one? Yeah, sure. I'll draw it just for you. If you ever wonder why I don't draw trend lines that often, it is because you can draw them in so many ways. Yeah, this looks like a breakout. I'll just draw the fan as well. Okay, this is where we broke out. This is why we started closing above and retested. This is where we're heading, essentially. So on the reaction based on this, we can see if we're going to go higher or if we're going to reject and try and retest lower. But essentially, if you are looking for Sol, if you think Sol is going to perform really well, I would not actually look at Sol. I would look at alternatives. I would look at GTO and I would look at Jupe. I don't personally like Jupe that much because I think the tokenomics have some issues, but it is still a good project. This is still going to perform really well. And if you look at the chart, It reflects that. I personally think we're going to sweep these lows because we have triple equal lows over here and another right over there. But in general, it is not a bad spot to buy. I think this performs really good. Realistically, the main technical target you're going to look for, because you are in an uptrend, is going to be this. So we have essentially an 886 bounce over there, slightly higher. So I'm just going to take this to the to 118. This is essentially what I'm looking for. I'm essentially looking at $2 for a dupe. Yeah, I think so. It doesn't have to. Like, we don't have to take that liquidity, right? It can just go up because you are also just retesting this neckline right over here. So what we do is I think we either retest this and go higher, or we retest this like this and then we sweep. I do think it goes higher for sure. Either we sweep or we flip this level. Possible to chart arrow. That coin is really hard to chart, but I'll take a look. I also actually have a more recent dupe chart. This is what I'm looking for in dupe. This is an actual play I'm looking at. So I just send this. Yeah, Sui also has unlocks, but not that many. Sui's unlocks have essentially stopped. That is the thing. From what I know. No, okay, never mind. I guess that's not true looking at that image. But yeah, if you've seen me in chat, you know that I don't think Sui is going to be a top performer. I think it is a first runner, and I think it performs really good. But I don't think it is going to be the best performing layer 1. Yeah, a lot of layer 1s are the same. A lot of layer 1s have that, but out of all of the projects, the gaming projects have it way more than others. I can look at SNX, but I would, in general, advise to stay away from metaverse projects. I do not really consider TIA layer 1. Like, I know it kind of is, but the Cosmos ecosystem works really weird. But my number 1 is Sei, my number 2 is FTM. Because the reason why I have Sei as number 1 is because it is a really fast layer 1. It is a paralyzed layer 1, just like FTM is, which is one of the main issues that Sol has. Because Solana is not paralyzed, and Solana has a lot of scalability issues. So, for example, the bot congestions take way too long to fix, which is kind of just an indication of them not being able to properly update the chain and properly move past that. They don't have a way of solving their issues, which is fine now because people are using the chain and the demand, like, it can handle the demand. But for those that were here start, like, more of the middle of the last part of the bull run when Sol was like reaching for 100, those know that when Sol was getting to that level and when volume was going really mental, Solana was having congestion issues every single time. Like, we had like 4 of them in a week. And the Solana, like, entire network just went down for a few days as well. Like, there were like 3 days where it went down like 5 times total or something. Because Solana is simply not built for the volume it has to produce. So I think layer 1s that are gonna have to like properly outperform need that. They need that scalability. And my number 1 pick for that, like my number 1 and 2 pick for that, are Sei and FTM. Because paralyzed networking, or paralyzed like transaction, whatever you call it, has more room for that because it like kind of splits up the transactions. So if there is a congestion in, let's say, I don't actually know what they separated networks in, so I'm just going to use like a random example. But let's say everyone's minting NFTs and that part is having congestions. then the actual transaction part, if you just want to send SEI or FTM from one wallet to the other, is not going to have issues because it is split up. And that is one of the main advantages that those chains have. And then my number one pick is SEI over FTM, for the reason that SEI is now also, on top of being a layer 1, also an Ethereum layer 2. So SEI fully supports all kind of Ethereum smart contracts and those kind of things. So I think that really adds to the value later on. But anyway, that is rather long term, right? I am not someone who uses fundamentals too often. I look at the charts. And the charts are telling me, what the charts are telling me supports that idea. What icons do you think would outperform? I think the best performing AI coins are probably going to be Render, Aether, Tau, and PAL. I think FED/ASI is going to perform really well too. And it's a rather safe bet in the AI sector. But I'll be honest, I don't even know what it does. And I think almost no one does. Like, it does AI stuff, but I don't know if it's actually useful, so it's probably not. Where Render actually has a use case. So, what's it called? I think Tau is going to perform really well. I think Render is going to perform really well. I think FED's going to do well too. I think FED in particular is a really good pick to trade because the volume is really high and everyone is looking at it. So if you know how to properly trade lower timeframes, I think FED is really good. You think Popcat looks good? Popcat. Well, I also think it looks good, but in a different way. Yeah. So called yeah, I didn't call this because I needed a little break from leverage trading because I was like, long story short, the moment you actually get emotions into your trading, you're gonna lose no matter what. So I just stopped trading for a bit, even though the actual 2 trades I wanted to take were pretty good. But yeah, it is what it is. I think Popcat looks good for lower, so I agree. It does look good. These are the actual TPs. I've kind of moved since we made a new eye. I think we see 0.847 at least. After that, it probably looks good because we are making new proper structures. We are making a shark right over here. It's an exact 113, so I can take that up to the 886 as one. Yeah, there it is. It is going to be between the 886 over here and the either the 224 B2D. So this leg, the 224 of that. This class is not about harmonics, right? So I'm just kind of skipping over it. But essentially, this is your reversal zone for the shark. This is what I'd look at. So I think we go lower and then we go higher. That's it for Popcat. I think I recently charted SNX actually. No, I didn't. Okay, let's see. For these kind of tokens that are essentially just forgotten and below bear market lows, you want to look at one thing. Did it sweep? Yes, we swept this low. We swept the bear market low. Did it close above? It did not. We determined this low in the bear market, right? Even in the bear market, when BTC was at 15k, we did not accept below this level. And now that BTC is at 60k, we have accepted below this level. We have closed a candle below our bear market lows. So for that reason, this is not a coin I would look at. Because we are, even though Bitcoin is more than 4 times as high as it used to be, in the same cycle, SNX cannot even hold the same level. So this is not a token I would look at. And the reason why I'm saying it like that is because there are so many altcoins out there. Like, there are so many. And this is not even like nearly all of them, right? There are like thousands of altcoins. That I think is very important this cycle to select altcoins. To pick the right ones, right? Pick the ones with attention and the ones that have demand. And considering that we closed below the bear market lows, I don't think this coin has demand. So I would rather look at something else. I would rather look at something like, let's look at STX, right? On a high time frame. This is literally just uptrending, right? Oh. There's your low, high, low, high. That's an uptrend. There you go. Where are the bear market lows? They are right there. So considering this, I think this coin has demand. So I would rather look at this than something like SNX. The one exception to that rule is something like this. If you see this happening, where you have a very important low like this, where this was our previous all-time low, and you go on like a daily time frame or something, and you see something like this happening, where you wick through it, and then you close completely above, that is a very good sign. If that happens, then that coin clearly still has demand. Because at that point, you have now retested at very old level, and you have confirmed that you do not accept there anymore. So you have confirmed that you belong above that level. And if you belong above that level, well, that is not really a lot of risk. At that point, you could just cut on the 6% close. And what is your actual, like, top of this level? The top of this level is actually going to be this high. So in that case, that's when your risk to reward is going to be really, really high. So only if that happens, only if your SFP, like a very important low, I would look at coins like that. Let's see. We wanted to pick out some coins, right? Yeah. So I've essentially just told why just told the story as to why I'm not considering coins like these, because this clearly doesn't really have demand, right? It is kind of just downtrending forever. It seems to be rounding now, kinda, but in general, this is kind of just downtrending. So I wouldn't look at this, since I can also look at other coins. I could also look at a NEAR or at a POW or a TAO or whatever. Like, I wouldn't consider trading this if I can trade this. It's a very big difference between the charts, right? Without even TAing it. So for that reason, I would not look at this. This is already a lot better, right? Because you're making highs, you're making lows, you're forming proper structure. So something like this makes a lot more sense. Let's see. Do we actually have any good structure here? We do not. I cannot draw anything because of that wick. Let's go on a lower time frame. I can actually not draw anything there. I'll draw a fan again and give you some levels. But this is a very hard corner chart. There are no M shapes on there. Is it drawn properly? No. Okay, so looking at it like this. Okay, we are rejecting the old golden pocket. So what I think happens is I think we're headed for a retest of this. So if you want this coin, I would look somewhere over here. I would either look for a long in this area and then target at least the 0.5. Or I would look for a retest of this fan and order block right over there. So something along these lines. This one's pretty nice because you've also used this as an opponent level before. So I think this one's gonna hold. That is essentially what I would look at for this coin. I will put POW in there as well. POW looks really good. This was a very important level. That is your previous 886. We rejected and used it as support a few times, so that's what I'm looking at again. Put this in there as well. So have AOS, we went over that. Popcat, we went over that. OP, I think OP is one of the best looking macro charts out there. So essentially, you're just looking for a pullback on this coin. It just bid. I have this coin on my list. So if we actually get a proper pullback on this, I am 100% gonna bid. I'll just put this in my channel because there's no setup right now. Charted a lot. I can't get a setup on this right now. Essentially, I'm just gonna do the same thing on every chart, right? I would just look for a retest of this. Let's get that neckline and try and play it up as high as you can. Yeah, Paul really does look amazing. This chart looks really, really good. Even if I, what's it called? Even if you want chart patterns, right? You can kind of just see that this is compressing. Oh. For chart patterns, by the way, I'm not someone who trades them, right? So I am someone who looks at what they mean. So I kind of use candle closes for that. So what you can see in this case is price is compressing. So it started really wide over here and it is compressing like this. Is just pressure building up. And we are taking out all of the lows. We're taking this out, we're taking this out. All of this is getting taken out, right? And all of these highs are still intact. So everyone who shorted up here is still going to have their stop loss in that area. So now that compression is ending, and we have broken daily structure now, we are not on a downtrend anymore. We can look to take those highs out. So we are essentially just targeting the highs. So that's also why my last 2P is going to be either simply all-time high or this one. Because I think we're just going to hunt these highs. Can even just put the P's on here, right? Essentially, these are just levels you want to look for a reaction. Yeah, we'll probably take it up there. I think Powell looks really, really good. Take this one out because it's not actually a really significant high. Like that. And the market cap on this coin is not that high either. It's actually a really good project. Near, well, we should have been in a short near, but it's sadly closed. I think this is going to pull back to at least... Okay, to at least these levels. I would look for either a bounce here or a bounce here. Yeah, it's a bit hard to... like, essentially every coin right now is hard to chart because we haven't fully put in that top structure yet. What I would look for in coins like these is when we like kind of... we need to kind of put in a structure like this, right? Where if this is actually our eye, then we kind of make some kind of structure over here. So that we can confidently place along somewhere over there. We don't have that yet. So essentially for now, I'm just going to use lower time frames to get that. So I don't have an exact level for this yet. These are essentially the levels I'm looking at for near. Let's see, we charted Luna the other day. because CN talked about this and I opened the chart and it actually looks really good. So I share this here as well. I'm gonna make this a call if it actually does this for a trigger play. Okay, let's see any other new coins. We looked at essentially everything, I think. Wow, what happened to Wave? Is that an actual wick? No, it's not. Okay. Yeah, okay. For width, I'm just looking for lower. So essentially for everything, like nearly every coin is at, what's it called? It's just at resistance right now. So I think nearly everything is going to pull back a little before we can actually long it. Yeah, it is an AI project, and the only thing I know that they actually do is that they have a lot of revenue. Like the company itself behind it is really profitable. I'm not someone who uses fundamentals all that much. So if you want to look at it for fundamental purposes, I suggest that you read up on it. All I know is that fundamentally it is a profitable company and the chart looks really good. That is all I know. I'm someone who charts, like I always play news and I always play fundamentals, but I do so by looking at the chart. Because, for example, I played the NVIDIA earnings, right? What usually happens if I go on a chart and I see very high targets, right? Like, for example, the target for this harmonic is 20% out. NVIDIA isn't just going to drop in a day, isn't just going to drop 20% out of nowhere. That doesn't make sense. The company is too good for that. Because these are actual companies, right? Not just a random coin. So whenever I see targets like these and there are news events coming up, I trade the news by taking that short before the news event. So in Paul's case, I know the fundamentals are solid to some extent, and the chart looks like this. There's a very high time frame harmonic on it. I think it is up from this area. Yeah, it is slightly outside of B point tolerance, but I would consider it valid because of the BD. So we have a very high time frame harmonic. We have a lot of price compression. All of the shorters are still like untapped. There are probably a bunch of stop losses here along the highs that haven't been tapped. All of the lows have been tapped, and we are breaking out of it to the upside. So knowing that, and knowing that it is actually like to some extent a good project because I know the company behind it is profitable, that just tells me that this is probably going to perform really well. So I do sometimes look at fundamental factors, but I'm just not someone who does like full fundamental analysis. The only coin I've done that for is Aave, because I think from a fundamental perspective, Aave might be the single best token out there. For the simple reason that if Bitcoin is going to perform really, really well, okay, I'll make a quick TLDR out of this, and then I'll wrap it up. So for fundamental factors, I think Aave is one of the best, if not the best position project, LSLP, for the single reason that there are two factors. If Bitcoin is going to perform really well, and considering the constitutional demand for Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin is going to perform really well. Staking on things like ETFs that have too high of an API are essentially securities. That is also one of the reasons why the Ethereum ETF had staking pulled away from it. Because if you can get 6% API on a rather safe asset in the form of an ETF, you're going to get that asset because you're going to get 6% API. And that is way higher than the interest rates, and that is way higher than what indexes offer. So that to some extent is going to be a security, because people are making so much money out of nowhere that you are essentially just inflating the dollar for no reason. So you can't really have that. You can't have too high of an API, right? That is also why I'm not 100% sure, but I think the number is 12%. Anything above 12% API is just considered like a Ponzi scheme, because it is too high to be realistic. But the way we can use that information, the way we can use the information of, okay, we cannot get actual proper staking on things like Ethereum and Bitcoin, right? Is we can look for the alternatives. One of the main alternatives for this is lending and borrowing. Because you can lend out your BTC and you can just earn interest on that. That is different, because you're now putting your own assets at risk to turn something back. So that is allowed. And the main project in that, like by far the leader in that regard, in that sector, is Aave. Because, well, look at the competition. The competition can't even beat itself. We're below all-time low. Like, we're below the old all-time low. It's right over there. We're trying to fight that. And the project actually like is getting a lot of backing for that reason. So from fundamental, on like a fundamental perspective, I don't usually use it all that much. The only projects I use it for is Aave and to some extent Ondo. I actually had Ondo suggested before. I completely ignored that guy. I'm sorry if you're still here. So that is it for fundamental factors. I'll look at Ondo to wrap it up. I already have Ondo charted because I really like this project. So these are my macro Ondo levels. I think I've given these as bids like ages ago, like way too long ago. And that is why I haven't seen it, because we barely front ran TP1. Essentially, I don't even think we can get these anymore. Because I think we've fully broken daily structure, so this level isn't even realistic anymore, let alone this one. But this would be considered a stink bid. Apart from that, I think we can just look at these areas. But just remove the old levels, make some new ones. But just look at the FIB pool and then on the liquidity over here and over here, right? So if I take a volume profile from the high of this rally to the low, I'm gonna look at two things. I'm gonna look at these fibs right over here, and I'm gonna look at high volume nodes. So you can see over here we have more volume, then over here we have more volume. So I'm gonna use that information combined with these fibs. See, hey, if we get this level again, that is probably a pretty good level to bid. Uh, 786 was over there, right? Yeah. Essentially consider these ones the lowest possible levels. Somewhere along these lines. That is what we'll look at for Ondo. Okay, I was gonna wrap it up here, but I think we have time for one more. So last one more ticker. Which one do we have? E, what are you looking at? Doge, Pepe. Yeah, I can already see it in my list, right? On the right. Every meme coin is popping off. Wait, Doge is actually completely flying. What? Oh, I almost actually touched the next TP. Yeah, Vanry is a good one actually. Yeah, as for Doge, I think this is one of the best macro charts out there. So we have a bunch of spot already. I'm looking for these stars essentially. SHIB is also flying. That chart, it is actually just a straight line up. But if this touches D again, that is going to be so good. And for Doge as well. Okay, SHIB does seem to be rejecting this level though. We do seem to be rejecting the diagonal. Because that close is really bad. And we took out this liquidity, we took out this. Do we even... We haven't touched that yet. Maybe on perp charts. Whoa, 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 E, not in public. So, SHIB, yeah, I mean, these coins are flying, but you can't really enter this right now. Because it is at resistance, but you're not going to just short this. There's no way. Yeah, I mean, Not's doing the same. Brett is also doing the same, also at resistance. I would look for a pullback on this. Let's see. How is our brother Mumu doing? I have it on this chart. This is another coin I'd look for on the pullback. If you get a pullback on this, I'm adding for sure. I know a lot of people know this coin exists, but a lot of people are not actually trading it. I think Mumu is going to do really well for the reason that it is one of the only memes that people in crypto like actually use. Because Mumu is like the little bull from the memes, right? So he's essentially the mascot of the bull market. So I think this is going to get a lot of attention. And the chart reflects that idea, right? If I were to clear this chart and just look at it like this, right? We had a pretty big consolidation box over here. That's why we just kind of ranged forever. I can take it from either this wick, and you can see like the kind of retest that we had over here and over here, or I can take it from this level over here, and you can see the same thing again. So this is essentially your demand zone. Because we consolidated here for so long, we then broke out, had a really good rally, and we are now just essentially coming back to retest that. And the retest is going well. We're successfully retesting, right? So I'm expecting this to just form a higher low. And that is reflected in the form of this Cypher harmonic. Because we formed that, reacted really well, went for the type 2, so I think this is going to go high. Realistically, the main technical target for this harmonic is going to be 1272 of that. That is my main technical target I'm looking at. To add a meme to everyone's list before it actually fully sends. For Vanry, I'll actually screenshot. Where'd you add Momo Spot? Okay, if I do it like this. We can see that we have some kind of consolidation box over here, right? So my first entry, if I wasn't in this, would be right over here. The second one would be right over there, on the top of that box we drew. So essentially on these two levels, that's what I would look at. I can pull a fib from it if we want to, just draw it from below over here. It kind of coincides with that 618, right? So I'll just drag this up a little to include that 618. That's going to be my first entry. Possibly an entry at 786 as well. So right over there. That is why I would look for spot. I wouldn't actually look to leverage trade this until I get a really good setup. Because you don't really need leverage to make a lot of money with these kind of coins, right? I think the market cap's like somewhere like 150 million or something. So it's still at a point where you can make a lot of money without actually like putting in a lot. That is the same reason why I went with NOT eventually, right? Because we entered NOT at 0.77, somewhere over here. With the main reason just being, well, just look at where you are. You are at, like, this is your low, this is your high, right? If you look at this harmonic, you are at the 886, essentially. We were just consolidating it. The actual risk you have is losing this level and then retesting it. So you just cut there. And the actual, like, profit margin you have is so much higher. Because realistically, we are targeting this, essentially. So what you're taking is a minus 10% for a plus 190% in risk to reward. So that is why we essentially went with that. And that is also the reason why I'm looking at Moomoo, because if you take, let's say, all of these 3 bids, right? Your average is gonna be somewhere over here, then out of that slightly lower, right? So somewhere like that. That's gonna be your average. So if we just take the percentage tool, your invalidation is going to be this. If we go back below and then retest this level, that's where you cut. How much is that? Well, let's take it a bit wider, right? Because realistically, you're not actually going to get it on that retest. So let's say you have a minus 20%. That is quite a bit. And that is the reason why on coins like these, you go a bit lower size, right? Because your reward is really big, but your risk is also slightly bigger. So you just go lower in size to compensate for that. Well, what is your reward for the 20% risk? Well, your reward is a 4x, essentially. So risk to reward wise, it just makes a lot of sense to add on these levels, and you just add light because it's still a meme coin, right? But it makes sense if you want it to add it on those levels and to just cut if it loses it. So that's why I was looking at those in the first place. And for Vanry, by the way, because I think Vanry looked really good. I think I did actually call Vanry, right? Let me just look at my channel. Okay, I actually didn't. I'm looking for a retest of this. So I'm already in a position. I don't know why I didn't call it. I have taken profit here, but I am looking to re-add on this level. So we can kind of see the support band over here because there are a lot of fips in this area. I am looking for us to kind of retest that. And if we get that retest, that's where I'll add. And a validation, this is not a leverage play, okay? So this is not a hard stop. A validation is going to be losing this and going lower. So essentially, you just don't want to lose these levels. So that's going to be like your short-term stop. And on a long term, if you want to hold this for a longer term, which is valid because Vanry has a really low market cap for some reason. This is essentially your low. So on a higher time frame, that is also going to be your stop loss. I just added in purple marks like I've done before. So I'd look at this level to add, then this one, then this one. And then this is going to be your stop loss. That's where you cut. So that is it for Vanry. Vanry is actually a really good suggestion. I think Vanry is going to do really well. Okay, we went over a lot of tokens today. We didn't really manage to like put together a watch list, but I'm gonna make one anyway over the weekend, and I'll just send it out in my channel. So that being said, thanks everyone for coming, especially those that interacted. I will send the watch list in my channel later. And if you have a really good topic that you want the next stream about, like something you want to learn about, or something along those lines, like let's say you want to learn about fibs, harmonics, you can always just tag me in chat, and I'll try to see if I can do a subject on it. And if you really are interested in like some kind of mentorship or anything, I am also doing a course soon. Like I'm starting next month on the 5th. So if you are interested in that, you can also just send me a DM, and I'll try and see if I can help you out. Yeah, thanks, Factum. That low key, everyone that came and everyone that interacted, it was really really appreciated. It's always fun seeing how many people actually come and interact with the stream. For the course, yes, because it is like I think 28 hours total, so it takes a lot of time to actually teach that. If you have any questions about like one specific subject, you can just ask that, and I will always still do like individual subjects as long as it's possible, just in here. But the one problem with like classes in Unity, right? Is that I can give a class on any subject. But let's say I do harmonics this week, right? And next week I want to go in depth into harmonics. Everyone that didn't come to the first class is not even gonna know what's going on. And if I add another subject for a third week, then that's gonna be even worse. So I kind of try to stick to beginner subjects in here, and for private mentorship, that's why I do like more in-depth stuff. But I don't wanna share with too much. If you're interested, just DM me, and then I'll get you all of the info you want. If you have a subject you just want me to teach in Unity, just type me. I'll just do it here. Okay, that is gonna be it for me today. I'm gonna end the recording here, and I'm gonna end the stream as well here.